take a look at this Bucs offense with Baker, and it was really good. And then Ice Cream Cohen was able to do it too.
Yeah, but like maybe he took the lump of clay and molded it, and then Liam Cohen just came in and painted it. Like he built all the work.
Liam Cohen,
can we just
noted follower? Right. Yes,
Panthers these last 2 years have ranked 29th and 27th in yards,
trending
23rd and 27th in points.
Is what you're saying?
Great. Could be 25th this year.
At Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. It's time to update the fantasy football rankings for 2026 with all the news, all the happenings from the preseason and off the field. From that point, Ian Hartitz, Jake Ciely, both on the line with me. Deshaun Watson is now officially named the starter week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. Ian, your take.
I just think they have to do it because it's going to make more sense to them to bench Deshaun and then go at Shedeur versus putting Shedeur out there and then pretending like Deshaun is the answer. If you don't start Deshaun, you're just completely admitting that everything is done. But, should they do that and just admit it's a sunk cost? Maybe, but as we talked about before the show, they can spread the remaining cap hit across 2 seasons if they wait to cut this dude by March. So it's an atrocity, just Deshaun at this point. Like post-shoulder surgery, his arm strength has been a shell of his former self. You tear your Achilles twice, now the dude can't really move. Like Shedeur, I'm not saying he's even a good quarterback, but he's clearly the better one right now. I just think it's what the front office decided they have to do.
And they also have out of their first 3 or 5 games, Jake, their most difficult 2 are probably the first 2, and they're probably on the road. So it makes more sense to send Watson to the Wolves, lose at the Jags, lose at the Bucs, and then give Sanders a fighting chance at home against the Panthers, at home against the Steelers, against the Jets to try to build something this season. Of note, if you go to coolbet.com right now, I have an alt-adjusted under on the Cleveland Browns at 4.5 wins at 2-1. I think they could be the worst team in the league.
I don't know. We're going to talk about, I think the Raiders are still in play. I think, the Browns are definitely up there. I think the Dolphins are actually, you know what? Yeah, I would take the Dolphins more wins than the Browns, so I wouldn't be surprised. It really comes down to, I agree with Ian. We've been in this situation with other teams, as we have these quarterback situations where you have a young player that maybe is underperforming. The Colts did it. It's like you can't go with the person that everybody's already questioning the talent and needs more time to develop in Sanders, and then start him out there, bench him to go back to the veteran. And then at that point, what happened? Now you're screwed. So the veteran sucks. Then you go back to the guy where, as Ian was saying, this is the right way. The NFL team, almost every NFL team has done this. You go with the veteran. They suck. So when the rookie comes in, it's kind of like, well, at least he's not the veteran who sucks. So
you get to free roll the season with the rookie regardless of how they play. Yeah,
and hopefully win, or hopefully don't win, and hopefully end up with a top 1-2 pick, and you can go after this quarterback draft class. But I think the bigger issue here is we're talking for fantasy. You both know, and everybody knows I love Concepcion, but at this point, I would still consider him a fringe wide receiver 3, maybe more of a wide receiver 4, just because his offense is going to be terrible.
Look, Sanders probably is the better option right now, Ian, but even if Sanders is playing, again, behind the sieve of an offensive line, I don't know how much better it's going to get for the skill guys.
Yeah, again, I thought Shedeur, relative to, let's face it, what's kind of been a low bar for his first performance, he looked good this weekend. I mean, going through his progressions from a clean pocket. Now, it was just a preseason. All these guys should be looking better. But again, after seeing what Deshaun did in the second half, it was at least, easier on the eyes than that. So I do think with KC, given what we saw in that first week, the reverse, the, pop pass on the kind of the jet sweep thing they had going on, they're finding cool ways to get him the ball, which should help, calm some of the issues obviously going on under center. But he's still kind of more of a sleeper wide receiver. To Jake's point, when I kind of get to the area of the draft where you need KC, I'm more so just taking handcuff running backs anyway.
Yeah, you can look this up on 4for4.com. If you use code Mayo, you can get 25% off any level of the tools, be that regular fantasy, DFS, which includes regular fantasy, gambling, which includes DFS and regular fantasy, and gambling, and SharpStack. Many different options for you, and code Mayo will get you 25% off of all of those. It's what I'm using for gambling, for DFS, and to do all my research, taking a look at the ADP. That Concepcion is the guy that people do want from this team. Even Judkins, Jake, is starting to get do we really want the running back on this team? It doesn't look awesome.
I was okay with it because we've seen Woody Marks just last year, as miserable as it could get on an efficiency standpoint, but he had all the volume for the Texans, which wasn't like that offense was gangbusters. and he was a solid RB2. So that's why I was in on Judkins. The issue here is I think people are more, at least in my opinion, this is what I'm doing. I pushed him down a few spots because of the injury, because now it doesn't look like we're going to see him on the field until week 1. And it just raises a little bit of concern that, like, okay, is he 100% for week 1? And even if he is, do the Browns sit there and say, you know what, we have Samson, we have Rocket Sanders, let's give him a few touches and not give Judkins 20, not even 20, but like 16 plus every single game. And that would take out the workload that we're expecting. So that's why I still have Judkins as a fringe RB2, but I originally had him pushing the top 20.
Ian, would you rather have Jeremiah Love or Judkins?
I'm taking Love because he can still catch 70 plus passes. I'm not exactly sure that, Judkins has that club in his bag, but not really drafting either of them, to be honest with you. I try to get 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds if it sets itself up that way. Kind of passing the Breece Halls and Jeremiah Loves of the world was doing before they were injured as well. I think Swift, and to a lesser extent, David Montgomery are decent picks, at the end of round 4, early part of round 5. But man, that's the part of drafts where I still be fishing for wide receivers.
Jake, would you rather go like Jadarian Price and Rhamondre Stevenson instead of Judkins?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Because we did get some.
Given the cost difference, probably, right, Jake?
No, because to Pat's point or the question, well, he wasn't really making the point, but it was in your question, Pat, is that Judkins is starting to slide down. He was already barely into the 5th round. Now I just did a draft where I think he was around the 6-7 turn just because of the concerns of the offense, of the workload, all those kind of things. If he's in the 6th round, I'm going to hit that every single time. And that's a similar cost. I think that's why you're saying it, Pat, at least my assumption is that's now a similar cost to Price and Stevenson. So I will take him as the clear lead. You know how much I like Price, but I'm still factoring in some risk that maybe I'm wrong on him. And he is a rookie that we haven't seen actually play an NFL game yet.
6-7 turns great. I'm just saying he's been going like mid round 5 usually. So
that's what I was saying.
But people are starting to get like panicked about the Browns offense, which I think is completely justifiable. And there is.
Pat, we had no idea the Browns were going to be bad. Are you kidding me? Like, how could we have thought that this entire offseason that the Browns were going to be bad? Like, of course everyone should react. Who could have seen that coming?
There's one thing in thinking something, and then there's another thing of seeing it with your eyes. Like, oh, it's going to be bad. But then you're like, oh, no, that's really bad.
It's going to be bad. Same thing with the Jets and the Cardinals and all this stuff. I don't know, man. The Titans as well. Cam Ward has not completed a pass thrown 10 yards downfield this preseason. There were real people.
I thought he did last
night.
Did he not last night?
Gunnar Helm, unfortunately, 1 foot in bounds. Would have been a lot cooler if he had to. But there were people that were saying, oh, no, Brian Dable, he liked Cam Ward in the draft process. This is going to go great.
Maybe it will. Who knows? Maybe they're intentionally playing poorly in the preseason, so everyone's sleeping on him. Ian, have you thought about that?
You know what the funny thing is?
To catch 0 passes for his career.
Everybody's going to get saved from themselves, just like the Jeanty news we're going to talk about, Ian, is that everybody was basing Cam Ward on what you just said, but also not realizing that he's not going to run for 500-600 yards. Like, it had to be mostly on his arm, and we're really expecting Cam, like, I love Cam Ward. Like, let's make this clear. Like, the talent, if he ever hits, that's still in question. But like, to put it all on his arm for fantasy purposes, like, we really thought he was going to come out with Brian Dable in this first season and be like 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns.
I don't think that was on. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it was just an increase in touchdowns. And listen, it's not like anyone was drafting Cam Ward to be like, oh man, this guy's going to be my starting quarterback. But as a flyer in a 2-quarterback league or a super flex, as your other option, I could see the gamble. I've already told everyone the quarterbacks that I like from that range, and they're the quarterbacks that run. So it wasn't for me. But I get why people would buy into it.
Yeah, well, I think Ian was partly talking real NFL too there.
Oh.
With the excitement, at least my assumption, right?
I mean, yeah, it's looked broken real life fantasy as well. And I mean, that performance last night was only as okay as it looked because Tony Pollard caught a wide open pass in the flats and, jetted for like 30 yards. So I don't know, man. It looks a lot like the Giants offenses that we've seen over the years. Usually quite bad.
So week 1 props, Wendell Robinson over 3.5 catches. I'm going to lock that one in right now.
Under yards.
Over receptions, under yardage, some anti-correlation.
What's the yards?
We're good to go. I have no idea what the yards are.
44.5.
I'm guessing it's probably not even 3.5 receptions. That's what I was guessing because I didn't actually look. It's probably like 5.5 or something. Anyway, I'll still take the over because he's going to have 3,000 catches for 19 yards or something like that. Have you considered this? That Deshaun Watson is sad because the fans are booing him. He seems to have no idea why that would be the case. That maybe, Ian, he is starting so he can be bullied out of quitting football, thus saving all this cap room for the Browns.
I just want to see Taylor Green at a certain point. The answer should not be Shedeur, should not be Watson. It should be one of the most athletic quarterbacks to come into the NFL. And Taylor Green, he's either your tank commander or you somehow pulled this dude out, in round 3. So that would be my answer to this ridiculous, very, very sad situation. I will say, though, Pat, you mentioned the schedule. Baker Mayfield putting an end to the Deshaun Watson saga would be the sort of drama that we love about the NFL.
I mean, just embarrass him more. Set him up for that so he packs his bags and goes home.
Is there like a massage celebration Baker could do in the end zone?
Oh, God.
Just to really, really put that final nail in the coffin? That'd be a fun time.
Did you see the discourse that was like, oh, well, Tiger was forgiven and Kobe was forgiven? It was like Hall of Fame, all-time level athletes. Like, no one's forgiving Deshaun Watson. Why? What a bad faith question that was. And additionally, with the Tiger stuff, there was nothing non-consensual about what Tiger was doing. Everyone wanted to sleep with Tiger. It's just, he was married. He was a scumbag.
I mean, if Tiger gave you a call in his prime, Pat, like, you'd think about it. It
wouldn't
be like
an
immediate no.
There. Let's talk this Jeanty stuff. So Jeanty died on the field last night. This we know. But then it turns out that he didn't, Jake, and that he actually just has an ankle sprain. And
power of prayer.
The power of prayer saved his ankle, reattached his limbs to his body. We don't even know if it's high ankle or low ankle yet, Jake. He might only miss 3 weeks here.
Oh, I thought there was going to be a question.
No, I guess the question is when something like this happens in real time, because you saw people melting down in real time about it, and then Jeanty's not getting drafted with active drafts, and Washington is moving up to a 4th round pick in some leagues. Let's pump when you don't have if the news had been, hi, I'm Adam Schefter, and Ashton Jeanty was decapitated on the field. Then you can kind of figure it out. All the news that came out about this was we don't really know what happened.
I was just thinking about that movie. What the hell was it? Where the dude gets split in the end zone. It was with all those team movies.
Not another team movie.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah. Anyway, Pat,
nice
it's
hands,
the overreaction.
Marty.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to be first to everything. Everybody's like, we saw the accounts that supposedly are sports accounts being like, they suspect an ACL just because they want to be able to, when the news actually breaks, be like, haha, I told you. And then they delete the tweets and they're not there anymore. The real truth is, and I did it last night and I still have it the same, because we don't know it's a high ankle sprain. That's the biggest question here. Forget the fact that he could be lost for the season. This is the same opinion I had last night. Like you said, we didn't know if he was out for the season, out for weeks, whatever it might be. He is now down to RB 18 for me, because I will take Breece Hall, who sounds like he's okay for week 1. They're just being cautious. Etienne, Bucky Irving, who's apparently 100% healthy now. Everything was just fine. Just like last year, they're just playing this game all along. Javonte Williams and the rest, just because we know those guys are going to be out there for week 1. If we get it's a 2-week, 3-week injury, I would obviously push him up, but people have to draft today. And I have Mike Washington in the range of the Braylon Allens and the high-end backups. I actually even have him in front of a Tank Bigsby, but in the 30s with Dobbins and Hart. I would take Dobbins, but then Mike Washington in the conversation, Mason and Harvey and Gainwell and stuff like that. Because if we do find out it's a high ankle sprain in 6 weeks plus, and we don't know if he's going to be 100% when he comes back, then Mike Washington deserves to be in that conversation. I would not put him in the 20s like people were doing, like you said, people were doing last night. I would not throw Jeanty out of my ranks, but that's where I'm doing. If I'm drafting tonight, that's what I'm doing.
Mike Washington for me, Ian, would be a great target if I went 0 RB, because he can piece together my first 2 weeks probably. Maybe you end up just getting lucky and Jeanty's way more hurt than you think and can't come
like
back.
Tyler Algier last week. Sorry.
We
talked.
Just he can piece you together until you figure out what's going on. I'm not basing a draft strategy around that, but if that's the type of draft that you were going in with, or that somehow what ended up in front of you on a screen, that makes more sense to me. I initially, before the injury, I had Jeanty at number 14 overall. Now I need to re-rank him. So let me ask you, are you like Jake? Would you rather have Breece Hall or Ashton Jeanty?
I mean, can we just get a freaking update on how long this guy's going to be out?
Never.
No, you have to draft now. That's the point. We don't have the full news. You're on the clock, Ian. Who are you clicking on?
Give me Jeanty still. You guys are freaking out. He's going to be fine, dude. It was an ankle.
It was an ankle. Yeah, that hasn't destroyed seasons before.
Javonte Williams or Jeanty? That's where I'm at.
Definitely
That was the hard
Javonte.
one I had.
Well, what is the bear case for Javonte? One of these NPC backup Dallas running backs magically takes his job after they paid him, and none of them can do anything right in the preseason. This hasn't made sense to me all season long. People are just butthurt about missing out on Javonte last season, so they say he's not going to do it again.
I'm
So
with you.
you're saying Javonte?
So you're saying Javonte. I'll say Javonte too. That's put Jeanty after Javonte, makes him 29 and 30, and that's one spot ahead of King Tootin. And we're off to the races.
Oh my God.
I never understood bearish and bullish.
Why?
Can we use like a weaker animal? Because bear still sounds like a pretty power. Like, why is that the bad?
Because they hibernate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
they're
Like,
sleeping
I
on the job.
don't understand like why. Like,
Look at Chicago. The Bulls are like the actual team that the city can be proud of.
that's what it's based on. They based it off the '90s sports teams.
Yeah, if you forgot the last 25 years of Bulls basketball, boom. Yeah, it's a good looking symbol to see the Bulls coming at you.
Okay, hold on. Jake was probably right. We should put Jeanty behind Breece. God damn it. This sucks.
It just sucks. Yeah, no,
Wait. Which part sucks? The Jeanty news or that you had to say Jake was right?
A little bit of both. Mostly the Jeanty news. I mean, yeah, but are we just admitting that Jeanty was a horrible pick at the round 1-2 turn?
Ian, I didn't even do it.
23rd?
I didn't even do it. I didn't even do what you hate people do all the time. I was jokingly like I wanted to do that when we came on the show with you because you hate when people do that. I'd be like, see, this is why I told you Jeanty was a bad first round pick.
What-
But that's not why.
I feel like we're doing that, though, by dropping him to round 3 over this.
Wait, was
this
Jeanty
is
a
completely
bad
injury.
first round pick or was he a bad first overall pick? That's really the question.
Oh, I saw that one too. No, see, like that's the thing. Is like jokes aside, like this has nothing to do with the conversation we had about that. I wasn't in on Jeanty for the fact that I thought it was an enormous leap to take for this offense. That could still, you just brought up with the Browns earlier, Pat. This could be one of the worst offenses in the league. Where it's like everybody's like, oh, Kirk Cousins, after how miserable he looked with the Falcons, like, oh, he'll be fine. Like it's going to be until Mendoza takes over and he's going to hit the ground running and be the next Joe Burrow. And no wide receivers on this field. They're fielding like trade offer potential. They brought in the players that the Texans tied in Sterling Shepard, and this offense is going to be amazing. Like, stop.
Did you know there's a version of your home that you haven't even lived in yet, where the rooms actually feel finished, and more importantly, the sun isn't blasting you in the face at 6 in the morning? Blasting in the face at 6 in the morning. Don't know what you're up to, but the sun will get you. That's what it'll do. It'll wake you up for the day, and it'll be awful. Everyone's had those blinds that drive you insane. They're crooked, one side rolls up higher than the other, and you live with them for way longer than you should because replacing blinds feels like a hassle. Blinds.com actually makes it incredibly simple. You can customize your window coverings, get samples shipped to your door fast and free, and even add professional measurement and installation. They've covered more than 15 million windows over 30 years, so they know what they're doing. Right now, Blinds.com is giving my listeners an exclusive $50 off when you spend $500 or more. Just use code PATMAYO at checkout. Limited time offer, rules and restrictions apply. See Blinds.com for details. I started taking creatine because I'm working out consistently, and if it's something I'm going to use every day, I want to know I'm actually getting the highest quality product. You should too. That's why I use, and you should, Momentous Signature Spec Creatine. Creatine's already one of the most researched supplements out there, supporting strength, power, lean muscle growth, recovery, and health. Even cognitive performance, which in my elder age I actually need at this point. But Momentous has taken the quality side to a whole nother level. Signature Spec Creatine is manufactured in a pharmaceutical facility using reverse osmosis water purification, and put through an expanded 6-stage testing process with 4 independent agencies. That means 10 times fewer impurities, tighter heavy metal limits, and plus PFAS and microplastic screening. All great stuff. And the ultrafine powder actually mixes easily without those gritty clumps that you see those weirdos at the gym have, so it's simple for me to work it in to my everyday routine. That's the Momentous Standard. Try Momentous Signature Spec Creatine at livemomentous.com and use code PATMAYO for up to 35% off your entire first order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code PATMAYO for 35% off. August is a great time to hit reset before the fall starts getting crazy, and that includes finally replacing some of the stuff in your closet you've probably been wearing for, I don't know, decades. Anyway, way too long. That's where Quince comes in. Quince is all about fewer but better prices, premium everyday staples without luxury brand markup. You can get their organic cotton tees, Mongolian cashmere sweaters, premium denim, or tailored chinos starting at just $60. Everything is designed to last, and because Quince works directly with ethical factories, you're getting prices 50 to 80% less than similar brands. I got Quince stuff all in my regular rotation now because A, it fits well, B, feels high-end, and C, is easy. These are the basics you can wear all the time without ever thinking about it. I use the stuff, you should too. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers. Go to quince.com/mayo. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/mayo. I didn't even realize Sterling Shepard was on this team. Good for them.
No, he's on the Texans. He's on the Texans. I was saying they talked to the same. The Texans started Sterling Shepard and Zay Jones. And these are names that the Raiders are talking to because they don't know what to do. Because their best receiver has been 6th round Malik Benson.
I'm telling you, whenever you can wash out of the Jags as a receiver, you end up on the Texans. They had Christian Kirk last year. They got Zay Jones this year. They'll have Brian Thomas next year. It'll be perfect. Actually, they're going
to bring it for Travis Hunter.
They'll probably actually have Jacoby Myers is who they'll have.
Oh, he's hurt.
He is hurt. So let's talk to him. What does this do to impact the Jags receiving depth chart? Because logically you'd think, hey, great spot for Travis Hunter. That's not how they want to use Travis Hunter. So who is it?
No. Nobody.
Probably just more Parker Washington, future first team Hall of Fame ballot. Parker Washington, based on everything we've been hearing, he's back at practice. I don't think it really impacts BTJ. The thing that is catching me a little bit off guard is the fact that Hunter's not going to see the ramp up because apparently they just want to have him focusing on one single spot with BTJ. So, I mean, why is that how they're doing it? They said last year that, yeah, okay, they made Travis learn all these positions and they want to simplify it a little bit, but wouldn't year 2 in the system actually be something where you kind of know all the positions now? So I'm probably just bitter because I drafted too much of a cornerback throughout the fantasy football season, but I don't know. I guess it's probably just going to be more, multi-tight end sets. They obviously drafted 2 dudes this year. So I would say, again, biggest takeaway to me is just Parker Washington, bigger smash than ever.
Yeah. This is, I think, a little bit of hope back for Brian Thomas Jr., though, too, because I think that Jacoby Myers was more the threat to Brian Thomas bouncing back than it was anything to do with Parker Washington. We talked about him on the wide receiver show, talked about it at length, where I guess the wide receiver show is something you guys did, but I know we've talked about him before. It was just Parker White, like Ian said, it was always Parker Washington. The question was who was going to be the 2. This is another one. Like, it's funny. Like, I just did my podcast last week, and you remember this, Pat? I used to say, don't draft Greg Jennings because why do I want wide receiver 47 on my team? You can find him on waiver wires. And I legitimately on my podcast said, sorry, I know he doesn't listen to my podcast, but that's my Jacoby Myers is my guy this year. I have nowhere. Why are you drafting a waiver wire replacement wide receiver? And now everybody got saved from themselves of having to draft him.
Jaden Higgins done for the season. So it's Nico Collins and who knows? Because Tank Dell still can't start practicing again. He's missed the last 4 days of practice. So all the optimism about Tank Dell and maybe his return has been squashed a little bit. They've been linked to Quinshon Judkins. I would make that trade if I was the Texans.
That'd be better than what they have. Jalen Noel is out for the entire preseason with 2 injuries. So it's the answer. You know what the answer is? The same answer back. No, unless he came back like yesterday or today. It was.
Or he was banged up, and then he was back at practice. And they're like, "Oh, Jalen Noel's actually."
No, because he had a hand. He had a hand, and then his leg. The leg was the one that's going to knock him out for the rest of the preseason. I think it was a hamstring.
I'm so freak. Can we start the season already?
So anyway, the answer is what we just dealt with last year with the Texans. Dalton Schultz is the answer. Is who's the number 2.
Okay, that makes sense to me. But I'm not going out of my way to draft Dalton Schultz.
No. But the end game you missed on tight end, and you just don't like having to if you miss on any of the upside guys, the first tier, second tier, and whatever it might be, and you're just like, screw it, I'll just wait till the end of the draft instead of being like, oh, well, let me make sure I go grab. I Dallas Goedert. Like Dallas Goedert, we hope that he replicates the touchdowns. Dalton Schultz is basically the inverse of that. We just know he's replicating the yards and the receptions, might not get the touchdowns. Point being, it's the same class of tight end. Why draft Goedert in the 8th, 9th round, 10th round if you could just get a free tight end? Hell, I'll go out of my draft and not have a tight end and just go pick up Dalton Schultz for week 1.
See, this is a sneaky move that people don't do. So if you're drafting well before the season actually starts, now a lot of people do it the week of. I know that's how we're doing ours, so you can't really get away with it. If your league still has a kicker, or you don't have the defense that you've like wanted to go get, or you're in these situations where all the good tight ends are gone, just don't draft any of these 3 positions. Just load your team up with more Mike Washingtons of the world and backup running backs. And if you got to cut 3 of them before the season starts, like whatever, maybe the starter will go down and you have a free running back. Like, why not utilize, Ian, your roster space that way in the preseason if you're doing your draft early?
You are 100% right, as usual, Pat. Couldn't agree more. And I will say the DST, if you can't, assuming you're just waiting and hoping for one not to be drafted, because we got kind of, the Eagles, Seahawks, Broncos, Texans. There's another top one I'm kind of missing. But if you do see the Ravens out there, that's kind of the defense I'm putting my, just chip on to get me through the first 6 weeks of the season. We got Daniel Jones, first Achilles game in week 1. Saints in week 2 at home. That's fine. The one tough one is Cowboys in week 3. I admit that. But after that, Titans, Falcons, and Browns. Sign me up for the Ravens. They actually have blue chippers: Kyle Hamilton, Trey Hendrickson, Jesse Minter now in town to really get the most out of the group. Ravens, DST, last round, or in free agency, as you mentioned.
I'm just looking at week 1 here, Jake. I haven't done my week 1 rankings. We'll do all those together. That'll be a lot of fun. But let's see here. I mean, hell.
There's a defense if you only want the first 2 weeks.
I mean, I don't even care about the first 2 weeks. I care about like
Cardinals and Raiders. But you get the Raiders in week 2 after getting the Cardinals at home for the Chargers. That's an easy layup to get the 2.
One to look at here, because everyone loves New Orleans and like, oh, they're the sleeper team. Just take like Detroit at home and just watch them run them into the ground and have Shuck have to throw 55 times against you.
Yeah, but do they have anybody left on defense?
Yeah, they're fine. Is Rashod Bateman going to play this year for the Ravens? What's going on here? Apparently he attacked a car with a newborn in it. That sounds bad.
It does, but we're also sitting here like, look, I'm not saying it's not egregious. It is. But the same thing that we said about Rashee Rice and Josh Jacobs and all the other situations, and it's still up in the air whether or not they're going to be playing. So, you make your own call on this one. They talked up Rashod Bateman. They said they're moving him around the line of scrimmage, that Declan Doyle sees the appeal of him being the number 2, despite all the love that Jacoby Lane's getting, which obviously opens the door for Lane if Bateman isn't playing. But this is another one we don't know. Like, we're still waiting to get the Jacobs news, and we're still waiting to find out Rashee Rice is finally in the clear. But what, do we have actual news? Like, because it just, like you pointed, Ian, I'm just...
Our fantasy local lawyer, Drew Davenport, said he does believe at this point Bateman is highly likely to play the entire 2026 season while the case is being resolved. I asked him, too, about the Rashee Rice stuff, because his initial take on that was like, if it could be a very high marijuana, concentrate, then they might find out egregious and then all of a sudden make it, a new issue and not just a continuation, but he hasn't heard an update.
Do we care about this either way? Like, were you guys going out of your way to draft Rashod Bateman?
Way too often in best ball.
I was going to say, I had a few best ball shares of him, maybe the 14th round of a deeper league, just because if he is the number 2.
More than a few, man. This is borderline irresponsible.
Do you have more him or Jerry Jeudy?
I don't want to talk about Jeudy. Why do we have to talk about Jeudy? They're probably my top 2, honestly.
Would you rather have Rashod Bateman or Keenan Allen, who is now on the Colts?
I think I'd still go. Oh crap!
I'd
probably take Bateman.
I'd take Allen.
I don't know. I was gonna say I'd probably take Allen and the chance that Alec Pierce never plays in 2026.
Yeah, what would you set that? What would you set the percentage that? Okay, let's start with week 1, Ian. Week 1, Alec Pierce plays. Set your percentage. Your prediction underdog prediction market percentage here.
50-50 was my first instinct, but I think that we're gonna get that pushed down in a hurry. What? 30?
I feel like with the way that they're talking right now, Jake, he has like a 15% chance of playing in week 1.
You guys are optimistic. I was going to say 1.
Okay. Wow. So if you think it's 1, when do you think that you see Alec Pierce on the field?
End of September.
So like a 4.
I don't even think it's
4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a full workload out of the gate. I think this kind of feels like the Saquon Barkley situation.
What does Keenan Allen do to Josh Downs? Because people were getting pumped about Josh Downs.
Little bit. It's they don't actually play similar roles anymore. To fact, like I mean, I know they're talking about pushing Downs out more this year and Allen more inside, but Allen was still bouncing around enough that like they're not going to so much like take each other's jobs. They're going to be on the field together. It's more that Keenan Allen's not a perfect fit for Alec Pierce. So because there are still some overlapping similarities, you go from Josh Downs hopeful to like well, our excitement was, hey, until Alec Pierce comes back, 20+% of the target share. He probably goes back to living in that 17-ish, 16%. And, affects Tyler Warren a small bit, a little bit too. Keenan Allen, when he was on the field, still targeted over 20% of the time. So still going to get his reps.
Ian, which player in NFL history is remembered to have been far smaller than they actually are? Lamar Jackson or Keenan Allen?
Kayshon Boutte is the tallest 5'11" dude I've ever seen. I'll say that.
But people think that Keenan Allen is 5'9", 160 pounds, the way they talk about him, not 6'2", 220.
Really? Yeah, the 220 part surprised. I feel like I knew he was 6'2". I will say some of the whole Josh Downs Cope stuff seems ridiculous to me. Of course, adding Keenan Allen to the offense is not good for the guy. Could Josh Downs still be okay? Yeah, I'm fine with that. But Keenan led the 2025 Chargers in targets. And I know he had some familiarity, with Justin Herbert, but he's got some with Shane Steichen as well. So, I mean, look, who do you think would get more targets over the course of a season? Keenan freaking Allen or Ashton Doolin or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine? It's obviously Keenan. So, not great for Josh. This is such a slow offense at this point with a quarterback whose arm strength is probably going to be compromised and a field stretcher who we don't even think is going to be out there sooner rather than later. So, yeah, Colts might not be very good, guys. Who would have thought?
So I've waited
to that win total.
I have. Hey, I think they're going to win the division. Watch out for them.
Ooh,
the Colts.
Want to elaborate?
Yeah, they're like 7-1.
You're basing it on the odd side of it.
Yeah.
If they were all equitable.
Well, they're not. I'm making a bet.
I know, but you said the question, and then you presented it. You didn't present it as a bet question. You said, "I think they're going to win the division."
Well, why else would I pick a division winner if I wasn't going to bet on it?
Do you have a reason for betting on that?
What am I, 7 years old?
The difference between saying I think somebody's going to win the division and then I'm going to bet them because they're better odds are two different things. If they were all in the same bucket of the same equitable value, you do not actually think the Colts are the best team to win that division.
Well, yeah, I'm going to bet on them to win the division, so I think they're going to win.
I'm glad everybody watching understands where I'm coming from.
No. You talk like you're talking like a little kid here. I think they're going to win, so I'm betting on them to win, and they're good odds. Great.
No.
You got the best D-line. They're not the best D-line. They have the best combination of O-line, D-line in the division because the other teams either lack in one sort of spot. I like their defense overall. And listen, just give it to Jonathan Taylor 300 times. See what happens.
Yeah, see what happens when that was without Daniel Jones. Loss.
Hey, they have Daniel Jones.
For now.
Well, sure.
Do they have Daniel Jones?
I think so. By all reports, he's fine.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Team was an unstoppable force with a healthy Daniel Jones last year. Let's not forget that.
He was very good. And every quarterback that leaves Brian Dable immediately shines. Tommy DeVito's out there slinging it in the preseason, fellas.
So maybe this is the Titans playing with Cam Ward. Bring in Dable, fire him, and then he'll be good.
There we go. Chestnut checkers.
What else do we have? Rhamondre over Henderson. This seems to be the reports coming out of Boston right now for the Patriots that it looks a lot like last year at the beginning of the season. Everyone was convinced Henderson was going to end up being the guy or at least the lead in this share, Ian, and it just still seems like it's Rhamondre.
Yeah, I'll just say in the regular season last year in their 14 games together, it was 162 touches to Rhamondre to 158 for TreVeyon. So if they really go like to playoff usage, and that's going to be problematic, but it was a bit more split last season than I think people maybe give it credit for in hindsight. So I know it looks egregious in terms of like, oh my God, how are people drafting TreVeyon over Rhamondre? But again, I end up doing that exercise. Like if every single starting running back took a season-long vacation, I really do think that TreVeyon would be the overall RB1. in fantasy football. He was averaging north of 20 PPR points per game without Rhamondre out there, man. You really cannot say that for, I think, anyone else. Maybe Blake Corum, Ray Davis, Tank Bigsby, I don't think quite get there. So that's the upside with TreVeyon. So is he too expensive? For sure, I get it. But if we're also sitting there in week 16 and whoever drafted TreVeyon is just absolutely balling out because Rhamondre, hurt his foot, then yeah, I mean, it could work.
Well, Rhamondre getting hurt, depending on what time of season it happened, Jake, would just be like, it'd be like last year. Oh, Henderson's ripping it up for me in my consolation bracket.
So that's part of it. But and I know that Ian's not doing this, but it's funny that people always present this one way. And it's like, well, what if TreVeyon gets hurt? Like Stevenson doesn't have top 10 upside with no TreVeyon Henderson in the backfield. And that's why since day one, way too early ranks, I've had Stevenson over Henderson the entire time, because it's not just the split that Ian talked about, is that for all the positives, and this is coming from somebody that talked up TreVeyon Henderson coming out of college, big fan of his, but the explosive metrics that everybody wants to pick, whether you do 10-yard runs, 20-yard plays, receptions, yards per touch, whatever it is, guess who had higher numbers in all of them? Stevenson. So it's not that I'm saying, I want Stevenson, definitively the better talent than Henderson. It's just we're projecting a lot of Henderson that he hasn't reached yet. Does he have the higher ceiling? Absolutely. No question about it. Has he hit it yet? No. And can he? Absolutely. But that's why they should be going close together. But for a long time there, we were getting Stevenson at a 2-round discount, and that was the real appeal.
Here's a trivia question for you. How do you pronounce wide receiver on the San Francisco 49er, last name Stribling's first name?
Deshaun. Like you gotta get the Z in there.
But
it's not an S.
But it's actually Deshaun, as I'm reading it per the website right now. Yeah. D-E apostrophe means like day, according to him.
Deo?
And his uncle is Don Morocco? Really?
How'd you find that?
It has just nuggets about Stribling right now, about how to actually pronounce his first name, Deshaun, and that his uncle, Don the Rock Morocco. That's nuts. I would not have. I would not have guessed that.
That is just also funny, just that they throw it on there.
Well, yeah, he was a very famous wrestler in the Hulk Hogan era.
So, what site are you on?
This is on NFL.com or San Francisco 49ers.com.
I don't believe anything off that.
I was just because I was
garbage.
Yeah,
the official site is just wrong.
I don't know.
No. I was just because if you go back to Oklahoma State's page, I just pulled it up. We were talking. It's Deshaun. It's like Jean. You got to get the Z in there, not the S.
So Deshaun.
Yeah.
Like the mustard, like you said.
Yeah.
Mr. Mustard Stribling. How high
Grey Poupon Stribling?
Yeah. Do you have any Grey Poupon? How much Stribling do you have at this point? Because the cost is getting out of control.
Not a lot of shares. I think we talked about this last show.
Yeah, but it's becoming more and more and more. He's like the guy with the rocket ship.
He dropped a touchdown. That's a good thing, apparently. That's how far we've gotten.
It's gotten so far that the appeal here is that if one injury happens, and it's probably one of those scenarios where to count, you know what? I don't even want to talk about Stribling here for a second, Pat. Is let's get to the point. I'm starting to get legitimately concerned about Mike Evans. It's all of a sudden a new thing. Everything he's missed practice, he's fine. He's missed practice, he's fine. He's missed practice, he's fine. But it's not even the same thing. It's his calf's bother him, he's fine. It'll be a few days. Fine. We're feeling the same. Yeah, his hamstring's fine. All these things. I'm starting to legit. You know what? Maybe at this point the body has taken its toll on him. So the appeal of Stribling is if something happens to Mike Evans, if he gets past Deebo Samuel, even if George Kittle and CMC stay healthy, it's just one of those two that gets out of the way. And that was my point, is that week 1, he's 5th, but it could be real quick. And we all of a sudden find him either 4th or even 3rd on the depth chart. The problem is, as Ian made the joke, is nothing's better than Stribling at this point. So he's now going in the range of legit wide receiver 4s who are going to put up 10, 11 fantasy points per game to start the season. So I feel like he's a worthy investment after those guys, but I'm just not going to take him that high.
See, I don't know about that. I'm not too concerned about wide receivers 4 putting up decent points in the first few weeks of the season. I'm probably not playing that guy.
No, because the guys I'm talking about in my mind, probably should have spelled it out clearer, are guys with also upside of Concepcions, Lemon, Jordan Addison, Jalen Coker, those guys are the worlds that are clearly already 2s with upside to even be more than to be wide receiver 2s that are already wide receiver 4s. even Romeo Doubs. But like now, if you get behind him, like I'll put this, I'm down on Michael Wilson. I would take Stribling instead of Michael Wilson.
See, I would still rather have Michael Wilson. I'd rather have Jalen Coker. I think I'd go ahead of Dobbs. But like the Browns, even someone like Casey Concepcion, there's a good chance, a higher than 50% chance, Ian, that Concepcion outscores Stribling this season, probably. But if I was ever to use one of them as a reliable guy on my fantasy team, I feel like it would be Stribling.
I got him right up there next to him. He's honestly right behind KC and then also Mekhi Lemon in my ranks. So if you want to go ahead and take them in that range, go right ahead. I just feel like at this point, it's become such like a preseason phenomenon, just like Bill Krosky and Merritt last year, where there's probably just going to always be someone in my draft room that just wants the dude more than me. So round 8, 9 as a kind of mid, low end wide receiver 4, I think that's fine, but I'm not going to be chasing him up the ranks into something crazy.
Where would you rank Mike Evans, though? Like, do we just have to drop him down? Because, like, is it more likely that Mike Evans wins you a fantasy championship this year or doesn't play football next year?
Next year?
Yeah, like he's just out of the league. Like,
but if he plays, it's honestly CMC. If he plays 17 games, what are you putting his touchdown over under at? Like 12 and a half?
Maybe. I think that they're in two different categories.
Just conservative. Yeah. But see, that's the thing with Brock Purdy. He's we talked about it. Yeah, Brock Purdy is everybody's fine. Brock Purdy is one of the most efficient touchdown throwers in the league because it's Shanahan in that offense. Like this is somebody it's not quite the Matt Ryan Falcons from what was it, 2016 or 18, 16. Whatever that year was, 16. But it's close, and he hovers there every single year. It's not like, oh my God, he threw 7 touchdowns for every attempt, 7% touchdowns on his attempts, but now it's like he lives in the 6% world. So that's really what it comes down to, is that Mike Evans plays 17 games, as Ian said, double digits are almost a guarantee.
Sure. We're now starting to come to a situation where Mike Evans might not even play week 1 because we don't know the hell what's wrong with him.
And well, that's why I brought it up, because they say it's like, get here. I'll tell you, he's fine, Ian, if we can get 1 5-day week where he doesn't skip practice to play it safe, as I put that in quotes.
Now the McCaffrey stuff just came out too. That like, yeah, he's like, I always plan on doing this, so no big deal.
See, guys are worried.
But that's different. Christian McCaffrey was like, he was gone for 2 weeks, and it's like this was part of the plan. The Mike Evans is he's practicing. Oh, he's sitting out the next 3 days with his hamstring. He's practicing. Oh, he's sitting out the next 3 days with his calf. He's practicing. Now he's out again. This is the third one. Whatever today's was or yesterday's was, this is the third time he's gone from practicing to now missing multiple days to play it safe.
I moved Evans down. I'm with you guys. I got Christian Watson, Parker Washington, Jameson Williams, and even my guy DJ Moore ahead of Mike Evans.
Oh wow, I had him well below that to begin with. I have him like behind Quinton Johnston and Michael Wilson, and like yeah, like
Mike Evans?
Yeah, Stefan Diggs or Mike Evans.
Do you think he's playing with one leg?
Kind of, yeah.
Holy crap.
That's very low. Yeah,
I don't want to draft him this year, is what I'm saying.
That's very clear.
So I've adjusted Stribling up because of that. I think Stribling, based on what we saw from the preseason game this weekend, it seemed like Stribling was ahead of Deebo Samuel on the depth chart.
Different aspects of the offense.
It is, but there were even some words that Deebo was working with like the third stringers in practice on Sunday. They were saying someone else whose name doesn't even come to mind, honestly, past him at this point. So looking rough for Deebo, man.
He wasn't doing anything. Like he wasn't
Jordan
with
Watkins.
This team. Jordan
Watkins. That guy sounds like a CFL backup running back.
So it really comes back to what we talked about before too, is Stribling, similar to Michael Thomas with the Saints and Bashal Tutin with the Jaguars and even Parker Washington with the Jaguars. Like all these situations is like Stribling on 30 other teams probably wouldn't even got any attention and not be doing what he's doing in the preseason. It really comes down to the fit. And if you look at him, is he got the most breakaway speed in the wide receiver game? Absolutely not. Is he going to go catch 40 yard downfield passes every single time? Absolutely not. But he knows how to exploit the space, especially in what the 49ers offense is. And that's why he fits so well. I understand the appeal. It just like, if you told me today we can knock out one of these names, if he's Ian, to go back to what you just said, if he's actually in front of Deebo right now, if he's already in front of Deebo and he's the number 2, you should probably make the case, not you, I'm saying like all of us make the case that he should be a wide receiver 3.
I mean, look, we did see Kendrick Bourne go for back-to-back 140-yard games. We saw Richie James have, 180, however many yards on that one game. Like, if there is an offense that, even with a middling talent, I'm not even saying Stribling's a middling talent. Maybe he really is just going to be the man, but we've seen them prop up worse, I guess is my point. So,
some teams make good great.
And listen, maybe he can be the healthy guy. That's always a valuable role in the 49ers offense.
That was a good bar, Jake.
What?
Some teams make good great. Proud of you, man.
Thank you. It's a commercial. I'm going to turn it into one.
Kittle was activated off the PUP list, so he is eligible to play in week 1. Whether or not he plays in week 1, I'm still a bit dubious of that. Like, why send this guy to Australia coming off an Achilles injury when you can just have him rested for week 2, and you might need some extra bodies in week 2?
Yeah.
If we find out he's not playing week 1 and you didn't draft a tight end, we just talked about Dalton Schultz and Dallas Goedert. Do you just fire up Tonjes?
Jawan Johnson.
I mean, if Jawan Johnson's not taken, absolutely. But yeah, Tonjes is easy throwing if he's like, that's all you're left with. I'd rather chase Tonjes than to go like, oh, maybe Chig Okonkwo catches one for the. No, the easy answer is Tonjes. He just fills the Kittle role.
Man, Chig was doing great until they signed Diggs.
He had a full-time role out there. I think he played 11 of 13 snaps. So that was
he's still the full-time tight end. Yeah.
You know what? I still like him. I'd rather have Chig than week 1 Tonjes.
Well, because the big thing here is that Treylon Burks is clearly the starter alongside Diggs and Terry McLaurin, but he comes off the field. Simply, we're talking about when wide receivers they rotate the 2 and 3 when we talked about that previously. Diggs was actually staying on more than Burks, not a surprise. But Antonio Williams is actually even behind Diami Brown. And granted, he plays more the Diggs role if anything were to happen. But apparently Antonio Williams isn't even ready to see action in week 1. So your point is that Okonkwo could actually be the 3 right out of the gate.
Bad news for my Antonio Williams futures of Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ian.
He had a nice catch over the middle. It's early. Different.
All right, I'm back in. I'm back in then.
Of to go up. But yeah, he was the 7th wide receiver to come off the bench here. So maybe not the most ideal start.
Can I say that I'm very down on this Washington offense? I just think their offensive line is so bad it's going to cause some real issues for them.
Pat. David Blau is going to have him work under center, and occasionally they're going to fake the ball to the running back and then actually throw off of that. They've been talking about all offseason. This is play action.
Ian, that's sorcery. You're not allowed to do that. It's against the rules.
Hey,
this is.
I didn't believe it either.
Hey, you want the inside information? This is coming from last night from somebody that covers the Commanders that asked me for fantasy advice. So maybe
nailed it.
Told me last year. Legit told me last year, do not expect much from Jakari Krasky-Merritt. He called it. He said they were looking for him in the second half because he didn't touch the ball but one game over the course of 2 years, and to be patient with him. And he legit responds back to me when we were talking about the team last night. Commanders are making me nervous. That offensive line is making me very nervous. So I'm not confirming or denying if that's who the person was, but I trust him probably more than 99% of the beat reporters out there.
So considering that's what I just said, maybe I'm actually your source, Jake.
That's your burner?
Yes, that's my burner account.
KD Trey 5, that's your burner.
Wanted to ask you guys you have this Dowdle-Warren situation. I'm kind of just on team Dowdle now. If they're going to be splitting series by series, give me the guy who's just better. I'll take that guy. But the Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks stuff, Hubbard hasn't practiced yet. He's not playing at all. Are they just resting him for week 1, or should I be concerned that he's not going to play in week 1 either? And then Brooks is just in this backfield by himself.
Yeah, Alice says he's confident Chuba's going to be back for week 1 for whatever that's worth. I'd like to see Brooks have a decent play. That's not a 1-yard preseason goal line touchdown. Is that fair? He doesn't look great out there. Can we say that? Is that allowed?
He's got the best. No, that's not him who has the best ACLs. That's Michael Penix. Sorry.
Yeah, Michael Penix has the best ACL.
He's been cleared for 11-on-11 practice. Does that mean he could play week 1?
I would hope so for Drake London shares.
Let's say we find out Penix.
Get ready to learn Jack Strand, Pat. That's the QB1 in Atlanta.
Wow, as long as it's not Tua, it's got to be good news for some of these skill guys.
I told you last week that they were calling for Jack Strand.
Minnesota State Moorhead's finest.
Division 2, man.
If Penix is back, does that boost up London and Pitts and Bijan in your minds? Is that a substantial difference between Penix and Tua?
Not so much Pitts, but definitely London. Yeah. Pitts will be less efficient, but targeted more with Tua versus Penix, but Penix will have better numbers on like depth of target and higher potentials for touchdowns.
Penix will go down swinging. Tua
Tua
will go down.
Tua's going to pepper the
throwing
living
up.
hell at Pitts because he can't throw the ball down to London.
Can he
Third
even
and 15, Tua's just checking it down.
Can he even manage to throw it to Pitts? Won't it just be 800 passes to Bijan?
No, yeah, because he already did target Pitts a bunch in the first week.
Yeah, but he's gonna be tired after like 2 weeks of the preseason. I don't know if he can throw it downfield that much anymore.
Doesn't need to be downfield. It could be 10 yards. He can do that at least.
Additionally, another team I bet on to win the division, Atlanta. Everyone's out on Atlanta. I'm finally in after years.
I think it's the best team ever.
And Pat, what's your reason? What's your reason?
Well,
are we just going to gloss over the Brooks part?
This one is easy. All these teams are terrible, so just bet on one of them.
I can get behind that. Bet more so than the Colts.
The Chuba Hubbard thing is like Canales says, hopeful for week 1, which sounds like he's not even 100% short, like he's questionable for week 1. With Ian, I don't remember if we did it on this show or a different one, but yeah, Brooks looks 90% of the Brooks we knew, but 90% still good enough that, hey, what if it's a volume scenario? Worst case is that we see, I'd say 55-45 out of the first game if Hubbard's actually playing out there. The problem is if you take Brooks, you're going to be paying a premium right now. You're going to be taking him in the 6th-ish rounds, maybe the 5 if you want to be super aggressive. You're going to have to understand if you are doing this, you are going to have to be patient. Because if Hubbard's healthy in week 1, if Brooks starts out slow, you cannot be the idiot who drafts him in round 5 or 6 and be like, oh, Brooks had weeks 1 and 2, 50 yards, barely snuck in the end zone, averaged 3.5 yards per carry. I'm out on Brooks because then that was the dumbest pick you probably could have made.
I like Tet, I guess, and I like Coker enough, but I'm pretty out on this offense. It's even with a good offensive line. I think that a lot of it was just such smoke and mirrors last year.
That's what Canales does, though.
Sure,
we've given Canales so much credit for all the stuff he's done and fixing all their players and fixing offenses. And let's actually give it a little bit of time to work. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to be a top 12 offense, but I think maybe I'm the most optimistic on this show that I think that we could have Coker breakout, Tet be valuable. I still wouldn't put Tet as a wide receiver 1, but as a top 20, absolutely no question about it. Coker inside the top 35 should happen. Brooks being a solid RB2 should happen. That has nothing to do with even Bryce Young. Don't forget they have Darren Waller now. Somebody's like, Darren Waller's missing from your ranks. I'm like, no, yeah he is.
That one will be all right. We'll figure that one out later. I guess my bet, Ian, is that Bryce Young sucks, and I don't want that much to do with it.
That's fair.
Yeah. No, I get it. And I mean, look, Canales is still basically riding off, kind of making Geno a thing back in 2022.
And like really.
Yeah, but then we saw Liam Cohen get way more than that out of Canales.
I agree. But like the initial response of why he got this Carolina job was like, holy shit, take a look at this Bucs offense with Baker. And it was really good. And then Ice Cream Cohen was able to do it too.
Yeah, but like maybe he took the lump of clay and molded it, and then Liam Cohen just came in and painted it. Like he built all the work.
Liam Cohen,
can we just
noted follower? Right. Yes,
Panthers these last 2 years have ranked 29th and 27th in yards,
trending
23rd and 27th in points.
Is what you're saying?
Great. Could be 25th this year.
I don't know why the deadpan of how you said that got me.
Is Malik Davis the backup in Dallas?
No, it's the same as last year. Well, I was going to say, yeah, that more like it's both of them. Jaden Blue might get some of the pass.
Dallas, Indy, Kansas City, Baltimore, and I'm forgetting another one. I just think they're calling Kareem Hunt or they're going to trade for someone if the guy gets hurt. So we can talk about who the backup is right now. I do think it's Malik Davis, but I think the real
can't call Najee Harris anymore.
No, that's the next note. Is Tyrone Tracy just out of this backfield for the Giants? He's playing special teams now, and then they got Najee Harris. Is it Najee Harris they signed?
Yeah.
Didn't he blow his Achilles last year?
The worst part about it too is it has like Jordan Renan actually tweeted and said it had nothing to do with Tracy. They already had him visiting the team and talked to him before the Tracy situation even happened. So this was a long-term plan. This again, Ian, you're going to love this show. You can just go back and play all the clips because it feels like I'm just victory lapping this entire damn show. This is what I said were the concerns with Scadaboo. It's Harbaugh. It's Roman is they don't bell cow a running back. They talk up and use everybody. This goes back to, and here, this is credit not even to me. It was PFF Nathan Johnke. He tweeted out the comparisons. He said, Scadaboo is Mark Ingram. You'll love that, Pat. Gus Edwards to Najee Harris, which means you just want Najee Harris, Pat. And then Tyrone Tracy was Justice Hill. And that's really what we're going here with, is that this is the Harbaugh Roman way, is that they're going to use everybody. And the answer is you're just going to be frustrated.
If Harris was as slow as he was anyway, how slow is he going to be now? He's not a young man.
It's the Gus Edwards. He's going to get 8 rushing touchdowns on 400 yards.
I certainly hope not. That sounds awful. Oh.
You loved Gus Bus.
I loved Gus Bus, sure, but like Scadaboo seems like he might have genuine upside at the running back position, especially for fantasy. The whole thing with all of the Ravens running backs all those years is that none of them did. So just take the worst one and take the plotter who was like hilariously fat and scored touchdowns.
So their backfield is Tracy, who just can't stop fumbling or missing pass pros or doing God knows what else. We got Najee coming off the Achilles. Scadaboo's leg was in 3 pieces like 9 months ago. And then we got the oldest 28-year-old ever in Devin Singletary. What a backfield.
Yeah, Devin Singletary is 28 years old, yet he's played in the NFL somehow for 47 years.
I remember him back in 2008.
Wasn't he the first one to get touches too in that game?
Probably.
In 08, yeah.
No, like this game this past week.
He actually did. He actually did take Tracy's starting job last week.
He's got the first touches in every game since 2008.
Okay. He's look good out there, man. He's had a couple plays that if like Tracy or Scadaboo made him, people would be going nuts. That's how it works. You know, Malik Davis catches a touchdown, and what do you see? You see the highlight of Jaden Blue hurdling a dude for 5 yards.
Okay, so this is going to be a controversial statement, because I've already kind of beat up on the Browns a little bit. Maybe I'll be way wrong on the Browns, and all these guys, Concepcion and Boston, are going to be fine. But it appears
they're going to win the division.
No, they're going to win fewer than 4.5 games.
They're 70-1.
But I think they're more than that, honestly. Wow. Jalen Tolbert and Tutu Atwell are on the bubble to get cut in Miami. Is there a chance Caleb Douglas and Chris Bell are simply better fantasy options than the Cleveland guys because Malik Willis throws them the ball and he's not god awful?
Ooh. Yes.
There's a chance. That take.
The problem with Chris Bell is, do we see him until October?
Apparently he can. The beat reporters in Miami are saying he could play week 1.
I get that, but this is also pretty optimistic for somebody that just got activated, and this is somebody like coming from me. Like I like Chris Bell. I think people kind of overlooked how good he was at Louisville. But the opportunity here is, if he is healthy to start week 1, how long does it take to be 100% Chris Bell? Is he Chris Bell? I don't know. It feels like, why do it? But it is the Browns. So it goes back to your question, though, or the Dolphins. The question is like Malik Willis versus the quarterback situation with the Browns, and I will take Malik Willis every single time. So if you told me Chris Bell was the starting 2, even come week 4 for the rest of the year with Caleb Douglas, yeah, I would take that bet with you.
Okay, so Ian, let's say Caleb Douglas is the wide receiver 1 and or 2 on this team starting in week 1. At least he's healthy. We've seen him in game action. What are the chances he outscores fantasy-wise Casey Concepcion this year?
I think small. I think Douglas is down a couple of tiers. Chris Bell was the one where, if we didn't have this knee injury, could have, in my mind at least, been a legit round 1 pick. I thought he was better than Omar Cooper. That game against Miami was maybe the best 60 minutes worth of film that any wide receiver put up there. KC has some good ones as well, but those would be kind of my 2 finalists. So I will say, I don't like being the, oh my God, this guy was drafted later, only doing the draft capital thing. But, Baltimore and Miami is interesting, because when we see the organization actively picking Caleb Douglas before Chris Bell, not 2 different organizations, but like the team in charge of their playing time, that does make me pause a little bit. But in my heart of hearts, I do think Chris Bell is better. I put the chip there, but the most likely answer is probably just no.
I think I would rather take the gamble on this situation. It's cheaper, and I do think that there's more upside here.
Let's get a running back at that point who's 1 injury away from Mike Washington up to round 4 or 5.
Well, this was the interesting thing that we didn't even touch on, that I think you also need to examine a little bit for the people that were going bonkers on Washington when they thought Jeanty was dead. The Raiders probably signed someone to come in, don't they?
Yeah, but at this point, like, I wish somebody could pull these numbers for me, because I had this thought while I was sitting in bed last night of like, this would be a great article to go through the veterans signed late in the preseason when the lead option got hurt with a young, inexperienced running back as the potential lead, and how many times did that veteran actually end up being the guy and end up mattering. And I think that's a really interesting deep dive. Maybe I could figure out how to go through that today.
Maybe.
Because it feels like we've done this. Like the first name that came to mind, good old Nando DeFino texts me and he's like, they should sign Dalvin Cook. I'm like, Dalvin Cook's dead. Like, what are we doing?
Retired 10 years ago.
He's like, yeah, it's like he's played with him and he has experience. And like we already did this though. We had Dalvin Cook sign and he ended up being a non-factor. So I would still I'll give you the easy answer, Pat. If it's Madison because there's experience and there's a tie there, or it's somebody that gets cut and it's a veteran, whatever, they're still going to get acclimated to the offense. But I would put him in the conversation. Like, let's say Jeanty was done for the year. Mike Washington would be in the conversation like Darian Price. Concerns about the passing game, could be the lead, but could be a lead that's only like 55% of the work.
So I guess more to my point wouldn't be, let's say, if James Conner gets cut, Ian, and he ends up with the Raiders because Genty's out for the year. None of this happened, so it's all a hypothetical scenario. But we have to put ourselves back into drafting when this was happening in real time. My concern wouldn't be that James Conner comes in and like, oh, you should have drafted James Conner instead. It's that now Washington doesn't have the value you think he has because there's just another guy there taking his carries. That all of a sudden you've now expended all this draft capital on a guy who probably should have went 5 rounds later.
Yeah, I mean, in the heat of the moment, I thought the highest you could kind of draft Washington would be probably just after Bucky Irving. Most people base y'all Tootin, and I understand you have Tootin a hell of a lot higher than that, Pat. So just around that kind of RB2 borderline with the Quinshon Judkins of the world. So, yeah, he's had 2 fun preseason runs, but we're not expecting much from the Raiders. Is Kubiak really going to fix that offensive line? And with Washington, we have at least some more, past out concern with Dylan Laube and some of the other guys. So James Conner's hanging out there. Kareem Hunt's hanging out there. Joe Mixon has 2 feet. Maybe he's hanging out there, but I think he's done. So
do we know he has 2 feet? Have you confirmed that with Jake's anonymous sources?
He's got the best feet ever.
Terrific feet. Anything else?
Only feats.
Only feats. He could not participate. You can't even get money that way after football. Anything that we want from the preseason injury-wise that you guys noticed that you think should be brought up?
I think
injury-wise, I don't think
injury
else.
Or just stuff that you noticed, like, hey, that's pretty good. I like that guy.
Let's Carson Steele had 2 hurdles on Saturday night. In case you guys had better things to do, that was fun. Jalen Royals looked better than Cyrus Allen. I'm proud enough to. I'm okay saying that.
There's also some similarities between the 2 of those. I was going to say Ian is the person I can credit for the fact that finding out that Carson Steele was still in the NFL because I saw your tweet. I was like, wow, I didn't know he was still on a team.
Ian, who'd you say was better than Cyrus the Virus?
Jalen Royals. There's probably something there.
Previously took. Yeah.
Do I need to be concerned about that?
No, because you shouldn't have been that concerned about Cyrus Allen. Cyrus Allen would be fun maybe 2 or 3 years, but this is, let's be honest about what he was, a developmental pick that fits well for the offense. But we've done this dance.
180.
Yeah, we did it. We did this dance with Jalen Royals and Sky Moore and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Mecole Hardman and like stop chasing the Chiefs wide receivers when the answer is already there. The veterans are always the ones that end up being the answer. I was going to say the one that we did.
Kalen Black. That's a good one. He's actually priority handcuff now.
Walk me through this.
For San Fran. So I know the whole CMC thing, tightness. He was just playing.
No, but what happened with Garindo again? Something else?
I mean, he's just been on pop with the pec thing. I don't know, man. We saw pictures of
Garindo.
We saw pictures of Garindo looking fat as shit like 3 or 4 months ago, man. I'm not sure what that dude's doing, but I don't think it's playing.
Wait. Was it legit or was this like Eddie Lacy video?
I think
Eddie Lacy was fat.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. I guess like not that's what I was trying to.
I have not. I mean, Garindo got his chain snatched by Brian Robinson and other guys last year. I don't really consider him part of the competition. I've had it as Kalen Black versus Jordan James, who continues to be sidelined with his rib issue. Black was also sidelined because we're talking about the 49ers, but he got back. He played in the preseason, looked good with his opportunities. And at this point, it's really tough to say that anyone else should be the favorite. So I think Black is up there. I would take the Tank Bigsby's and Brian Robinsons and Mike Washingtons of the world first because we're a little bit more definitive, but Black, at least one really good data point for him being CMC's handcuff, which, as we know, pretty important.
There is a report that Jordan James is coming back this week to practice. We'll see it when it happens.
See how it goes.
That's the report.
I will say, as a super deep flyer at wide receiver, just the Rashid Shaheed drumbeat seems to keep getting louder by the week, and Torrey Horton got hurt again. Not that he was a severe threat, but I mean, it's just that rookie that they already took that lost his basically entire last season. And Cooper Kupp is kind of a super afterthought at this point.
And Bobo's out for the year.
That too. Jake Bobo.
It was interesting to me that Sean Tucker came in after something named Josh Williams for the Buccaneers. I'm wondering if maybe being worried about Sean Tucker would be looked at as a bad idea after Bucky Irving goes off in September.
Yeah, but don't remember, it's bad vibes, Bucky. Still got those bad vibes.
It's bad vibes, Bucky. I'm no longer concerned.
Yeah,
great point.
The answer behind him was Kenneth Gainwell always anyway. Or sorry, Ken. Is he going by Kenny now?
He's going by Kenny, yeah.
Reigning Steelers team MVP, Kenneth Gainwell. You have to say the whole thing.
Kenny.
I have updated the rankings as we've been doing this show, so you can get the entire list down in the show notes for free. Just click on it, the Mayo Media Substack. When I have more to update, they will be updated. You can find them on X and 4for4.com as well. 4for4.com, code Mayo, gets you 25% off any of the packages. My rankings are free up there because they're not very good. But if you want the projections and the good rankings, those ones are going to cost you money. And you can get them for 25% off with code Mayo. You can find all Jake's work at theathletic.com. Hit the show notes. Find the direct link. Ditto for Ian at rotowire.com as well. Everything is down in the show notes, and you want to check out all of their work, all right? Check out Jake's podcast and Ian's YouTube channel, too, if you want more from those guys. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!